Jordan Ham here in San Antonio for the All-American Bowl with Brandon Huffman of 247 Sports. We want to talk some ASU football now and this recruiting class in 2020. Brandon, it's been a busy week commitment-wise for the Sun Devils. Just how do you see how this 2020 class is shaping up so far?
Well, I think it's been as optimal of a recruiting class that Herm Edwards could have asked for, not just because of the players they got, but also the impact of getting players to announce during All-American games. And I think that, we've seen in games like the All-American Bowl, the Under Armour All-American game, what kind of extra bump it gives to your class when you got guys announcing on national television, pulling the hat out. And to get 3 of those guys this week, I think that's impressive because they already signed a good class of guys that they got to announce back in December. But then to have 3 more guys who signed back then but then announced this week, that's just the extra PR that you can't really ask for. You can't really get that easily. And you get the bowl win, and then you get 3 more commits this week, 3 more signings, and that's just continuing to show that this recruiting staff is as strong as any staff out west in the Pac-12. We're going to be seeing a lot of Oregon and Arizona State battles because those are 2 staffs that know recruiting is such a huge lifeblood of what they're doing. And I think with Arizona State getting the 2 teammates from Folsom, going out into Sarah, the last time they got a kid out of Sarah was Merlin Robertson. To go up to Folsom and get Daniel Nagata, to get Elijah Badger, that's as good of a way to kind of put an exclamation point on a pretty good week for the Sun Devils.
We saw how impressive Jayden Daniels was as a true freshman. How much of an impact do you think him being there as the starting quarterback moving forward made an impact for these 3 skill position guys?
Oh, I think it was tremendous. And I think, probably one of the best things that Arizona State had going for them was Brandon Ayuk is saying, hey, Jayden can check the ball. Jayden can get you the ball. Well, he's cousins with Daniel Nagata. He's close friends with Elijah Badger. That's great marketing for your program when you've got a cousin, a family member saying, hey, come play with this quarterback. He's good. I think you saw ASU is kind of a cool school to be a part of right now if you're a football recruit because Herm's just got this great energy to him, and he's got this staff that's got a great energy. But then you throw out a true freshman out there who comes in and, he's one of the premier dual threat guys coming out of high school. He's a record holder for a number of records in California, and then he makes it look so easy this year. Even in the games that they lost, there was still those moments where you're like, this kid's just a freshman. What's he going to be like his sophomore, his junior, and if you're an ASU fan, hopefully his senior year? I think that was tremendous because you got a couple more years of getting to see what he's capable of doing.
Now, Benjamin leaving a big hole in the backfield. When you look at Demonte Traynham, when you look at Daniel Nagata, what do you see and how they can address those needs?
Yeah, I think you got like a little bit of a thunder and lightning type backfield. I think, Demonte is going to be more their traditional running back that I think that they'll use, to probably get more carries. I think Daniel's that versatile back. He was more of a slot, all-purpose guy early on in his career, and then towards the end of his career at Folsom, he was used to running the ball more, but he's got that ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's got the ability to make plays in the open field, but then you can give him 10, 15 carries a game, and he's be able to get through that line and get to the next level and get into the end zone. And I think, it's a very good, in a year where there were a lot of great backs out west, Nagata being one of the best and then going national to get Traynham, I think that they didn't just focus on the West for recruits. They knew that there were some positions they may have had to go a little bit east for, and I think that they were able to do that this year and get 2 guys that are going to kind of fill a couple of different needs for them in that backfield.
Now, with this 2020 class, among those that were announced on December 18th, who jumped out to you? Who's one that you think is going to fit really well in the Sun Devil system?
Obviously, Johnny Wilson is going to be the name that everybody thinks about, and for good reason. He's a 6'6", 220-pounder, ran a 4.5 140 at the opening regional. On a wet track, on a wet surface back in February. When Johnny's on, he's on. He's as productive a receiver as you're going to be able to find. He might have a tight end body, but he runs like a receiver. He can be used in a myriad of ways. You can bring him inside. You can flex him out wide. Obviously, I think he's a guy that's going to be an impact player, and I think that showed the impact that Prentice Gill's hiring really had is because they were able to get Johnny Wilson to take the official visit during the fall, and then when Prentice Gill came over, that sealed the deal to get him. And those are recruiting battles that Arizona State's going to need to win. They're going to have to recruit those Southern California kids against Oregon. I think you're going to see more battles between ASU and Oregon than you will against ASU and USC and UCLA. And so Johnny Wilson's a significant win because his teammate Micah Pittman was at Oregon. He had that long commitment to the Ducks, and then he flips to ASU. So there's going to be a lot of excitement when he gets to campus, because you're going to see a guy who's got an NFL body right now, and when he's on top of his game, he's as difficult to cover as any receiver out west.
Brandon Huffman, there's a reason why he's the best in the business, and a lot of excitement in Tempe.